Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome back to Krown's Birthday Cave.
Hey! That was finally a good one. Well. Welcome back to Krown's Pseudo Cave. I know I said I wasn't intent actually on doing another video tonight just because, well, it is my birthday and I was thinking of just, well, kind of just taking the day off to kind of relax. But Bitcoin's been having all sorts of major movements. So, Jesus Christ, man, why not do the thing that I love the most and talk about some goddamn magic and money and talk about some fucking trading over here. So, since we last spoke, actually, a few things have happened. Not just a few things, but quite a few things. As basically all the targets that I kind of displayed during the morning's video have been hit with flying colors. And I really wanted to get back on the videos right now and kind of talk about the general trajectory and where and what this next daily doodle close insinuates. Anyways, before we get into that, because it is my birthday, for the next week, I will be having a 20% off sale off of all my programs. That goes for the technical analysis program, the options program, and the Joule indicators, of course, as well. I should probably explain them, but also give you the code as well. Let me just get it right over here. There we go. The code is old20 in all capitals. And okay, so first things first, to kind of explain them so that you have an actual idea of what the fuck these things are. The technical analysis program is the all-encompassing program, essentially. Probably most relevant to people who are even, going to invest in a program like this to begin with. That one goes over not just technical analysis, but also risk and position management, microdynamics, and of course, the access into the members Discord community and access into the into two proprietary indicators. That is a 35-hour plus long program, so it's very, 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 very long. So keep in mind that not only is it a big financial commitment, but it's also a time commitment. And just like with anything, man, the amount of effort and time that you put into it is gonna be equal to what you get out of it. So if you don't actually have the time to invest in something like this, then it's probably not a good fit. So I'm not gonna give you the whole spiel here. I'm gonna let you make the decision for yourself. You are more than capable of doing that. But just understand that from my point of view, if you don't have the time to do it, it's probably not a good fit. So definitely make sure that that's definitely make sure that kind of condition is met. I would imagine, as that's gonna give you the best opportunity to have success with it. The options program is similar to the technical analysis program, except it is just focused on trading derivative products, aka options. Another 35-hour plus long program, and this one is more. It's more of a rabbit hole, so to speak, right? Options are like running before you walk, and technical analysis is like walking. Even though technical analysis is like as complicated, on its own, options just take that and just make it even more perverted, a few more steps above. So I would say that program's even less relevant to most people. And then of course the Joule program, that's more like instant gratification, just access into the indicators. The 5 proprietary indicators that I have, the Joule indicators, and then of course the other 4. But more importantly, the Joule is not a. I don't want to kind of sell it as like a magic pill. It's not. If you don't have good risk management already in place, nothing can make up for that. So make sure that kind of condition is met as well. Of course, again, I'm not here to be your dad, but I just want to make sure that these kind of things are that, or at least that I say them right, so that people are aware going into it. Definitely read the reviews, as that's going to be like the best sort of corollary into understanding what they're about. And without further ado, I think it's time to get into the good old magical internet money charts right now as I switch up the scene. God damn it, man, I've just been talking about all of that. Sorry, that's quite boring, but I do want it. But also, before we get into it, Jesus Christ, man, I have to once again say massive thank you for all of the birthday wishes, for all of the love that's been thrown my way today. I keep on saying this, man, but it's just overwhelming. I'm quite literally at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. I'm like literally overwhelmed just by the amount of love that's been thrown my way. I just want to give it back, man. My God, massive thank you. I hope that I can live up to it. And without further ado, as always, I do want to wish you the best and the happiest of the happiest. Let's get in the live scene right now. Waste no more time. Right now. Sorry about that, but let's get in here, baby. And there she is, Bitcoin on the daily, and the daily is looking mighty fine right now, actually, as Bitcoin has not just met our first target of 98.50, but also smashed through that and initiated our second targets of 10,200 essentially, and now just even overshot that all the way up to 10.5. So all of those targets were met, and this is why I don't usually talk about time analysis, because I don't really think that it's something that I really have any sort of a penchant for. But looking at these levels, you can see that once one level gets taken out, the next relevant level is like the next batter up essentially, and you see them all get hit in succession. It just so happened that today was the day. Now, was saying we probably hit these targets over the next couple days. Well, fair enough. That's again why I'm not too married to time analysis in that way. But with that said, the daily right now is going to have a very good chance to actually close and do something pretty significant. If we can close anywhere above both the green 50 exponential moving average and the yellow 21 exponential moving average right here, I would be looking for tomorrow, or I guess the next resulting daily dildo, which will open up in 1 hour and 17 minutes and 27 seconds. If you can see right on over there, as I do finally have the timers on there as I reach for my water, and oh man, I'm actually out of water. Fuck. Let's see. All right, Elsa's right here. Beautiful. And it's coming back in from the straight up from the ocean. Anyways, more importantly, oh man, what did you make? That smells good. She must have made some sausages. Anyways, if we actually can close above these guys today, which is looking quite likely with, again, just a little bit over 1 hour left to go, and we're about $200 over even the green 50. To me, if we do confirm above this level, yes, I actually would be looking for a pullback coming into the next daily, probably back down to this 1050, or sorry, not 1050, but 10200 to 10150-ish region. But I would actually be looking for that to bounce it back up and that get continuation coming in the next few days, and likely reach towards the next target, or at least give a try towards the next target somewhere in this like 10.8 to 11,000 region right over here. That's where things start to get a lot more interesting to me, because right now we've not really done anything too crazy. Thank you, Elsa. There we go. And just 1 second, to take as I take a sip of this water right now. Oh, there we go. By the way, I had a ribeye today instead of traditional ground beef for my birthday. Holy fuck, that was amazing. Oh my God, literally the best. I'm doing that every day for my life from now on. That was amazing. Anyway, so yes, assuming that we close today's daily anywhere above, this would be about 10,250. I'd be looking for a pullback coming into tomorrow's daily, somewhere back around this 10,250-ish region, maybe even all the way down to 10,150-ish region, down around the 21. But I'd be looking for that to get picked up and then continuation coming in the next few days. The thing about this is, though, and the reason why this price action right here is so important is because we're going to see all of the momentum oscillators from a higher time frame start to switch around. So we spoke about this during the morning's video, and this is why I was kind of switching, not switching around, but getting more bullish in the more immediate future. Oops, as I have a little bit of a burpy burp over there. We do see the 12-hour Stokes actually crossing back up to the upside from yesterday. Sorry, not yesterday, but the 31st of August, which has gotten fall through more importantly. And these have been extremely good at getting all these price action movements within the last couple months, actually. Within this whole consolidation here between about 9,000 and 14,000. Each and every time that we've seen those Stokes cross, whether it's to the upside or the downside, it's usually led on to a $1,000 plus move. The only one that actually hasn't was this cross the upside right here on the 24th, which did bring us up from about 9,900 all the way to 10.8. So actually, to be fair enough, it almost was $1,000 even on a kind of a fluke like that. But all the other ones getting basically all the tops and bottoms within this formation here. In this last cross the upside, no different, getting the bottom right here. So pretty damn good. More importantly, we also do see the 12-hour RSI regaining the exponential and working its way out of the bearish control zone right here. Of course, the 12-hour what I really want to talk about the RSI is not on the 12-hour, but we actually do have a trend line kind of forming right here now, don't we? Look at that, coming in right at the edge of the bullish control zone. So I would be looking for a little bit of a pushback there, and that actually would that kind of would align with more continuation for Bitcoin. Most importantly for me, we do see historical volatility percentile getting its first major kind of move up here that's actually looking like it might want to break this trend. Now, I would still say that this is more or less trending to the downside. A one-off spike right here doesn't change it, but if we do see this fall through on the next resulting one, I would say that this is likely going to be the expansion that we've been looking for, and in this case, when we see all momentum also start to switch around to the upside, then volatility is likely to expand in that direction as well. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. We're starting to see a lot of the stars align. Not only that, but the 12-hour jewel did give like a soft buy signal, I suppose you could say. Not anything too crazy, but it's really that now the daily that's going to spill on over into, right? As a daily is going to close basically above all major moving averages, which is pretty powerful. As I search for my words once again, but more importantly, we see 12-hour Stokes. What are they doing? They want to cross back up to the upside from a very similar posturing to what we've seen over the last few months, where each and every cross in this region here has actually been met by pretty massive swaths of price action. The last big cross that we had was actually back on over here on the the 27th, which led us out from this 9,500 base right here. Sounds familiar, all the way to 12,000, a little bit over 12,000 bucks. And the time before that, coming from the same posture, was actually coming in this area right here at around the $8,000 mark before this massive leg up all the way to 14,000 essentially. And the time before that, I mean, was quite literally in March of this current year as well. So it was stuck all the way on over here in Bitcoin price action. So again, all these things kind of lining up with each other. That's where I start to get interested. Not only that, but we do see historical volatility percentile on the daily. Yes, it is breaking it is breaking the moving average right here. But like I said, a one-off is not in and of itself a signal, but it's headed in the right direction. Most importantly, so if we do see tomorrow, more follow through with this, and we actually see the next volatility spike above today's, that would be a pretty damn good signal that we actually are going to start to expand once again. And in this case, again, with momentum oscillators having a fresh cross the upside, looking at daily RSI, also doing the same thing, getting out of the bearish control zone, getting above the exponential as well. I would say that this would likely align with us making a reach towards this next major resistance zone, somewhere between about 10.8 and 11,000 essentially. So that's where to be looking for over the next couple days. Not only that, but let's bring it over here to the 3-day, as a 3-day is not going to be closing tonight, but there is a few interesting things, right? First and foremost, you've probably been watching all my trend lines on the RSI. It actually correlates with the 3-day, and what we're looking at right here is a falling wedge. And look at this, we actually are poking our heads above this. Now, we were not doing that this morning, of course. This morning when we did the live stream, I think Bitcoin was hanging around maybe like 9,800. Now, obviously, Bitcoin, another $600 higher or more, and we're actually breaking it now. And you can see that this is also confluential with the exponential on this. So if we do see this confirmed, which will close on the 4th of September, so not today, but tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time, this will be set in stone. And then we get follow through from that. Then I'd actually be looking for 3-day RSI to work its way all the way back up into around the bullish control zone at the very least. So again, all these things are kind of aligning with each other, and I do think that Bitcoin does have some upside here. As we said over the past few days, that Bitcoin's likely to rally off this 94 to 9,500 level, of which I got a lot of shit for, to be fair. But you know what? It's all good at the end of the day, man. I'm happy with trading my own accounts, and people want to criticize. That's all good, man. I'm pretty, whatever. At the end of the day, it's all good. The 3-day jewel right here, while yes, it did give a sell signal a few weeks ago, about half a month ago actually, on the 17th of August on the $11,000 high, we have actually come down to this region right here, and this is designed to act as a support. So regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish based upon this, which technically, yes, we did get a sell, technically we also did have about a $1,500 move to the downside off that, so you could maybe argue that it's already played out, although typically in the past it does actually get you a lot more. Regardless of that, you'd typically be looking for a bounce off this region to begin with anyways. It's kind of designed in that way. So a lot of things kind of working in Bitcoin's favor right now. I think that 3-day Stokes are actually looking like they kind of want to cross the upside right here. I don't really have a strong opinion on this just yet, but we actually would confirm hidden bullish divergence, or sorry, not hidden bullish divergence, but just regular bullish divergence right there. Well, to be fair, not really. I mean, they're too sloppy with my settings on. You can't really use them for divergence with my settings. With regular settings, with default settings, you can. With my settings, not so much. We would expect to see it on the RSI more than anything. And we actually do have hidden bullish divergence on the RSI. We are making lower lows on the oscillator, significantly lower lows on the oscillator between this point right here and this point right here. And price action is making about the same low or a little bit of a higher low. So that's telling you that the bears are using more power, more strength to push price action down, but they're getting less of the way, as this low right here, not as low as this low right here. Anyways, I need to take another sip of this because fucking hell, man, I am thirsty after that massive steak. Holy shit. I'm really gonna stick to that though. I'm doing a ribeye every day from now on. That was amazing. That was fucking amazing. What have I been missing out on? Holy shit. Anyways, so 3-day looks, is in good posture right here. 2-day, I'd imagine is pretty much going to be an intermediary between those two. We are not closing the 2-day tonight. We're closing it tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I would say something to keep an eye out for tomorrow night's close. Any sort of a close above the yellow 21 exponential moving average at 10,300 essentially, and I'd be looking for this to get continuation to 10.8, 11,000. So we're likely to see all these things kind of happen currently. The 2-day RSI breaking the exponential on it. Kind of see the same sort of falling wedge formation here as well, and that'd probably align with us making another test back into the lower edge of the bullish control zone. Not only that, but we do see 2-day Stokes looking weak to the downside here as well. Pretty much the same thing as a 3-day actually, so not really getting too much unique information off that. So what I really want to show here is that with the advent of the price action this morning, or I guess during the day today, it's really starting to change around the higher time frames. And yes, Bitcoin is still, at the end of the day, in a massive descending triangle, which, yes, is typically a bearishly resolved pattern. Actually, let me get a fresh chart here. There we go. So here's the thing. when we're talking about a bearish formation in an overall counter macro trend, which is bullish, this is still very much a bullish trend right here. We have not destroyed that. We have not made lower lows and lower highs just yet. I put a lot less weight on the name of a formation in general, but even less when it's counter to the overall macro trend. The hit rate on those formations is going to be greatly diminished. So yes, the people who are calling this a descending triangle, they are correct. Does the descending triangle have a measure move pointed all the way down here, a very scary one towards like 6,700? Yes, technically it does. But until we actually break this bottom support right here at 9,400, I would not be looking for that to get hit. I do think that this is, personally speaking, I'm stick to what I've been saying over the whole last like couple months. I'm not really bearish on Bitcoin. You know, again, as a trader, I don't care about what my opinion is. But my opinion, you know, technically is more or less neutral to slightly optimistic, even though mostly sideways really is what I should be calling it. But as a trader, you know, yes, if we break that region, bearish as fuck, I'm happy to take some shorts and happy to really put on some major shorts too. By the same token, if we do run ourselves back up above this region right here, it's not until we actually break this ascending trend line right here, which actually is probably best seen on a 24-hour chart. Yeah, there we go. It's not until we break this trend line right here where I'd actually call resolution to the upside and technically be bullish as a trader. So understand the differences in mentality from a trader from just an analyst, right? And I try as hard as I can deliberately to separate the two, separate both trading and I suppose analysis, because analysts don't have any real skin in the game. They don't have any real, blowback. They can say whatever the fuck that they want and change their minds, each and every day. And there's no real implications with their actual monetary funds. As a trader, though, you're measured by your P&L essentially. So in that sense, I'm a lot more agnostic as a trader, and as long as we're kind of stuck within this triangle right here, I just play it one support and resistance at a time. Yes, I do think that Bitcoin has some upside. Yes, I do think that it probably does even test it in this region here, over the next few days. But as a trader, I don't take that until the signal is given from my edge. Essentially, that's the whole difference, right? That's the whole difference between an opinionated analyst, analyst, whatever the fuck it is, and an actual trader, someone with skin in the game. So that's what I have to say about that. And again, I don't really get too bearish until we actually break this baby to the downside at 9,400-ish region. A daily little close below there, then yep, technically a measure move all the way down to about 6,800-ish region. I do think that there'd be bounce along the way. First and foremost, we'd be looking at about 9,000-ish region. Then I'd be looking at the 200 exponential moving average, which is essentially concurrent with the 8,500-ish level. Obviously, the Gap boys getting their vindication there as well. And then I'd be looking at the 377 exponential moving average and also the 200 simple. If we put it on right there, would be coming in around 7,500. And then yes, I'd be looking for the full measure move to be hit right around 6,800-ish region. But for right now, I'd continue to remain agnostic within this region as Bitcoin, still kind of fighting it through. And there's something very important that I haven't really spoken enough about over the last couple of days, and that's the monthly right here. Remember, we just got into the month of September, so the month of September is quite interesting to me. There's two big things here that are happening to me, and sorry, not happening to me, but happening to Bitcoin price action, which I think are pretty fucking big deals. First and foremost, we do see the red 10 simple moving average rapidly approaching the yellow 21 exponential moving average, and it looks to me like they do want to cross the upside. If that does happen, well, then Bitcoin's going to be above all major moving averages here, and we're going to have all major moving averages kind of splayed out in a more bullish attempt. Good. Most importantly, though, and what I haven't mentioned is that when we do see the red 10 symbol cross the upside of the yellow 21, well, that's a strategy that I showed in the Technical Analysis 101 playlist that's 100% completely free on my YouTube. By the way, before you ever even consider any of my programs, before you ever consider paying for anything like that, definitely take advantage of the free content because that's what it's there for. And for most people, that's going to probably do it for them. They don't really need to go on and do anything more. Because, most people don't want to be a trader. That's, all well and good. I completely understand that. I'm the fucking weirdo over here looking at my computer screens all damn day long. But yes, in that video, we talk about it typically on a daily, which it's actually going to act a lot better on a daily. But on a higher time frame like this, a monthly, it will set in the general trend. Albeit, I wouldn't expect it to act similarly to a daily, just because Bitcoin doesn't have as much price action history to really be going off of. But we do have a general interplay of how it's operated in the past. Going over here, you do see that when the red 10 symbol is above the yellow 21, we're essentially uptrending. When it goes, when they start converging on each other, that's when Bitcoin starts downtrending for a long time. When they cross back up to the upside right and over here, Bitcoin Bitcoin resumes the uptrend once again, and then they they converge each other once again during 2018 essentially. We go through the bear market, and then what happens as of recent times, well, they start converging each other once again, aka bullish in April, and now they're actually looking like they want to cross back up to the upside. So this to me is quite interesting. If we can actually confirm this with next month, it won't happen this month, but next month, or unless the price action gets pushed back up to like 11,000 or 12,000, they won't officially cross, but next month it will have a chance to, I'd imagine. Then I'd be looking for a more prolonged, kind of grind up, so to speak. Anyways, the other thing is another thing that I haven't really spoken too much about, but it's the accumulation distribution indicator. I only check on it like at the end of the month and at the beginning of the month, and this was very, 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 very good to see. We do see that the accumulation distribution indicator has actually remained in the positive slope, and I only care about slope on this. I don't care about anything else. And the fact that it remained positive slope, well, that tells me that we are still kind of grinding our way out of this. And actually, it's generally okay. Did we lose our positive slope a little bit? Yes, that's to be expected when Bitcoin's in a sideways consolidation. But until we actually break down and get a negative slope on this, I wouldn't really be calling it, such. So for now, fine. Again, this thing remained in a positive slope posturing all the way from the last beginning of bear market flipping into bull market from here, and didn't stop. I mean, literally, it remained this positive slope all the way through. Well, we did have a few one-offs here and here, but realistically, pulled it all the way through at least on a 2 consecutive closing monthly basis until March 2018. 2 consecutive months being the key operating term. Of course, we did have one kind of one-off right here during this little consolidation, which actually kind of reminds me of what we're doing right now. Bitcoin comes all the way down to the red 10 simple in this one, however, and then it actually plays out a pretty nasty drawback here. About 34.5%. And then same thing right here. The thing is that, with Bitcoin's pullback thus far, we traded all the way up to 14,000. We came down to about 9,000. That's a 36 and a third percent pullback. That's pretty synonymous with what Bitcoin does, typically speaking. And keep in mind, BLX is not updated here to the day. But when we have our last kind of bear market to bull market switch up, you can look at all these major massive pullbacks, and we typically look at like a 30 to 40% retracement on these pullbacks. So this one right here about 40%. This one right here about 20. Well, this one 25%. This one right here about 37%. This one right here about 39%. This one right here about 32%. This one right here about 39%. Pretty damn similar. This one right here about 38%, and this one's not really one, I suppose, but about a 30% one right there. Well, keep in mind that we've actually already done about a 36% drop down already. I mean, 34 and a third percent drop down already. I mean, that's pretty fucking, it's pretty in line with the way that Bitcoin likes to play these drawbacks in the overall general uptrend. So I would keep in line that historically speaking, we're not looking at anything so out of the ordinary here. Bitcoin's kind of at a high level consolidation, and you can imagine that a lot of people are looking for a test down to the yellow 20 exponential moving average on the weekly. I do agree. It's a pretty key place, especially for Bitcoin. But in general, it's kind of thought of as like a general healthy pullback for any sort of a trending asset on a weekly time frame to come down to your weekly 20 exponential moving average. Well, you see that Bitcoin does have a nice history of playing off it, of course. And the thing is is that we've come pretty damn close to it. And in fact, you have to imagine that if Bitcoin actually were to reverse here and works its way back up to that 11,000 marker and perhaps even beyond, and just kind of looking at this going forwards, how much of a degree of error would we have here? Well, let's actually really zoom in on it, but it looks to me like less than 2% from the moving average itself to that last wick. Actually, about 1.7. You can barely even see it in there, but it is there, about a little bit less than 2% essentially. So that's within it. And most importantly, if Bitcoin actually does take off here, then that 21 exponential moving average is going to be pulled up. So it's going to be even less. So it'd still be to the bounds and realm of reason. And the thing is that everyone has their fucking mind on this 21 exponential moving average. Everyone has their everyone was talking about, a test down there, whether bullish or bearish. It's kind of like your obvious area, right? And it would be a little bit of a front run if we actually did take off here. Again, I'm not saying that we do. I'd only really call a takeoff if Bitcoin starts to really close dailies back above, 11.2, 11.4 region. That's where things start to get a little more interesting for me. But right now, I'd keep more of an artist interpretation with this. Is there still potential downside to be had by Bitcoin? Yes, absolutely. I mean, shit, we haven't even seen the daily door close. What if the daily doesn't close above the area that we were looking at before, essentially anywhere below these two moving averages right here? Well, that would really change what I'm saying, of course. But for right now, things are looking good. Again, with about 58 minutes and 43 seconds left to go, I think that. I think that Bitcoin probably does it. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin's completely out of the woods, though. Keep in mind, there are very much relevant resistances right around 10.8 to 11,000 just from this last little liquid territory right here. Let me actually put back on the drawing tools. Well, I have this blue box territory right here, actually between about 10,450 and 10,550. That's our current resistance. But assuming that we even just close above the daily 50 right here. I don't really care about this resistance if that were to happen. I do think that we pop back down into this region like 10,250, 10,300, and then actually break this resistance on the next try and work our way up to this next sort of liquid zone, which I'll put in now as it is perhaps even relevant soon. Maybe. I mean, we're still not there. We're still quite a bit of ways. Need to clear this area first. But if that happens, then yes, I'll be looking towards this liquid zone right here. This one's quite interesting just because if Bitcoin does break through 11,000, well, I mean, look at this, man. Now we can actually have a chance to break the ultimate downtrend resistance of this whole baby thus far. And actually, this is a little bit off. This is why I hate diagonals. Typically I don't do it with wicks, chicks with wicks. Thinking of that. What I like to do is with bodies right here. But you should notice that they should. Well, you'd really want to see them have confluences with each other. The problem is that the wicks do get it actually. Are a little bit more of a conservative way of doing it when you have highly leveraged marks, and when we have something like BitMexico with 100x leverage, that's very highly leveraged, I would say. So if I'm looking for that next major fake out, I mean, this is making a lot of assumptions here that we even get there in the first place to begin with. But if that did become a reality, I'd probably be using the wicks actually in this case, just because they've been keeping everyone safe in SAFU over these last few ones, not getting caught up in the bullshit here. Anyways, okay, cool. So we spoke about all of that. We haven't even looked at the lower time frames yet. Let's get into that. 4 hour right here. Let me actually put back on all of the major movement averages, and let's get off this 120. I don't know why I left on this 128. It's weird. Let's put on a 200 right there. There we go. And okay, cool. So we do still see that the white 200 moving average on the 4 hour total time frame is still harassing price action. It's kind of where we're finding our resistance right now. Yes, I do think that we pull back off it, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish. Probably does come back down and base around the 200 exponential moving average, which is going to be where the green 50 exponential moving average is on the daily, of course. And why is that important? Well, assuming that we close above it on this closure, then I'd look for the next closure to use it as support. If that happens as support, then I'd pretty much be bullish. The thing is, though, if we do start closing 4 hour dildos, especially below, let's call it, if you want to be aggressive, the 200 exponential moving average, you want to be conservative, use the 377. I'd say the 200 exponential moving average probably gets it here, though. If we do close any sort of 4 hour dildos below the 200 exponential moving average, then we probably actually do that. Then that idea probably fails, and we actually do come all the way back down to test the lower 10,000 region, maybe even beyond. But first things first, let's actually get this daily dildo in place. Then we'll talk about the next kind of route of action, I suppose. Okay, cool. Let's go talk about, let's actually go look at, oh, motherfucker, what is this? Let's go look at the expected moves chart. I don't know why this is Plantronics right now. Must have been looking at it during the live stream today. You do see the expected moves chart actually getting well, this is actually going to be wrong here because it's represented, well, it's not wrong. It's just, it's not that helpful in that, just because it's not responding to the daily in its essence. It's responding in real time and calculating the next day to expiration, like always concurrently as 24 hours out. Anyways, that probably makes very little sense. What I'm trying to say is that you'll probably notice that this morning this range was significantly reduced and now it's significantly expanded. That's because it's calculating it as as a second by second basis without regards to our daily total close right here, and that's something that we need to work on with this indicator. Because as you can see right here, where we're actually at right now would be probably be the second standard deviation or third standard deviation of what we looked at during this morning's video. So now it's gonna appear as a first. So actually, that's not too helpful. But more importantly, we do see that they're all squeezing once again to the upside, similar to what we saw right here on the upside, similar to what we saw right here on the upside, similar to what we saw like for this whole 3-week period to the upside. All very, 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 very powerful stuff. And this is actually quite aggressive slope right there, action. So I would say that it likely does lead up for it to have continuation. Not only that, but crypto fear and greed index ticking out at 28 right now. Still very much on the lower side. I would imagine that this is going to take a massive leap up. I don't actually have the the crypto fear and greed index on chart format right now. But if you remember, the correlation coefficient on the fear and greed index was extremely high, and so that would align with price action, obviously, taking a massive step up. But most importantly with this, we knew that the last few days when Bitcoin was in a more extremely fearful zone in this region right here, which was barely even, but that was like the lows during the 2018 bear market saga. You'd expect Bitcoin to have like a stark reaction out of that region when Bitcoin's still in a macro uptrend, right? So you would expect this to be more sensitive on the downside in the more fearful zone when Bitcoin's in a different macro cycle compared to 2018, where we spent a lot of time, relatively a lot more time than we spent right on over here during 2019. Anyways, more importantly, we knew that it was very, very likely to bounce off that region as we approached major supports and all that good stuff. So cool. Anyways, all right. But kind of like analyzing now, it's not really helpful. I mean, it's kind of just saying that we dug ourselves out of the hole for now. Again, I don't want to make it sound like there's no danger of downside anymore. No, there's certainly still a danger of downside. I mean, fuck, if Bitcoin does get rejected here and comes back down to, I mean, even below 10,000, that would probably be meltdown time. That's a time where I'd probably actually start to ease into shorts most likely as well. Let's go look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. I'm curious how that one's doing. I imagine that it's still moving up and onwards, and very, 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 very powerful girthy green dildos today. Let's see you, baby. Oh man, hitting our next target as well. Actually, even sticking its head above there. I set a target of 72.5. We are basically at 72.5. But this is an ascending triangle, and if we actually do break the top side of it, I'd be looking for this to, I mean, technically it has a measure move all the way up to 74.25, 74.5. It's going to spell a lot more disaster for alts. So speaking of, let's go check out our altcoin index, Mr. Cardano over here. And it looks like he's having a rough day as well. Sorry, Cardano. so terrible. I don't mean to pick on Cardano, really. I know that there's a lot of people who are fans of this one, but as far as charts go, just looks like your traditional altcoin chart that loves to go down, baby. Loves to go down on this fucking girthy red dildos. Shitcoin police at it once again, and my god, man, this shitcoin chart is looking for new lows, what it looks like to me. Below all major movement averages, in free fall once again. Let's go to a monthly. How did the monthly close? Monthly close literally on its fucking lows. I wonder what's happening here. Holy shit. Yeah, damn. Fucking nasty there. Anyways, so, I'd imagine that most alts look something like this. And again, this isn't because I hate Cardano. It's just, as far as charts go, it's not the most impressive chart. We could do this with most charts, if we want to be fair here. Go over here to Stellar. Stellar, I mean, just in fucking melt. I mean, this is disgusting, beyond disgusting. What it's doing here. I mean, it's got to be creating. It's got to be getting like some sort of a relief rally just by the nature of it relatively soon. There's massive divergences building as well. This is how fucked up Stellar is right now. Stellar has daily Stokes crossing the upside as price action is literally breaking down. That's how fucked it. That's how fucked it is right now. So it really wouldn't take too much to get a lot of these guys actually to bounce quite hard. Actually. Surprised you with that one. But back into it. Most alts look in some variation of this. Let's see. What about, I don't know. Do I have anything else lined up here? Maybe Ripples. What's Ripples doing? Straight meltdown whoa, is this just a straight down chart? Holy shit, motherfucker. God damn. I mean, most altcoin charts for Satoshi is going to look like that. But let's actually go check out the top two shitcoins versus a dollar, not versus Satoshis, and see if they're doing any better. And Mrs. Litecoin, this is what we were talking about last week, right? Where Mrs. Litecoin, while the charts didn't look good at all, we were coming down to a major area. So it was likely to bounce just because of this being on the purple true next benchmark average on the weekly. I mean, it's always an area that's likely, high probability of bouncing things. And as you can see right here, pretty damn bounces thus far. Now, am I convinced that the low for Mrs. Litecoin's in? We're about 8.5% above it right now. I think it's still got a lot of work to do, to be fair. This is not, I mean, we haven't even made an uptrend yet, so I wouldn't necessarily say that just yet. Still got a lot of work to do. Holy fuck, man. Yeah, death cross just happened, although it is very far away from price action, so actually probably wouldn't be looking for it to be a super powerful one. Until something like this can make an uptrend, even on a daily, it's difficult, very difficult. Curious what Mr. Buterol looks like. Mr. Buterol looks about the same. Mr. Buterol still looks kind of like a falling pizza. In fact, I think that he's still kind of holding into it. Yes, it is. It's still working. Looks like my charts are a little bit too convoluted here. I apologize about that. Let me get rid of a few of these lines. Fucking lines. Too many lines. Get them off my charts. There we go. And as you can see right here, one massive falling pizza thus far. I really dislike falling wedges, but this one, it's working for now. Yes, we do have the death cross on it. Yes, we are below pretty much all major movement averages, but we haven't broken the bottom support just yet, which is currently right around 164-ish region, or yeah, 164. As long as we don't break 164, well, maybe you get to play out the pizzas. If the pizza target gets met, then it actually suggests a target all the way back up here towards 260, maybe even 275 on a more optimistic target. But that's first going to be met by actually breaking 182.5, we'll call it, to the upside. If we can do that, if not Mrs., but Mr. Buterol can do that, then, well, I'll take it one step at a time, actually. I'd look at 205 as a resistance. I'd look at 230 as resistance, and then, 260 is where I'd be looking towards. So fair enough. We probably do see a similar signature on Mr. Buterol as we do on Bitcoin as well. Daily stocks coming all the way down right there. Daily RSI breaking back above the exponential, and kind of looking like wants to try some upside here. Daily Jewel. If we actually see the Daily Jewel, if you see the light blue oscillator get another positive tick to the upside and actually get back above the white and the pink, that could be considered at the very least a soft buy signal. Not a super powerful one, but an okay one. Sometimes you will see them emerge like that, but typically you want to wait for those super perfect ones. In fact, I'd actually lay off that one and say, if it doesn't look perfect, I don't go for them. It doesn't mean that it won't work out. It's just I like those ones because they tend to work out a lot more. Historical volatility percentile looks like it might be a little bit uptrending here. Not so much, man. Not anything too impressive just yet. But more importantly, when it does see some impressive, well, that's when it goes from here to here, of course. So it's going to be a little bit of a lagging indicator with regards to that. But more importantly, because volatility is so low, we can look for it to expand. Pair that up with momentum oscillators. They're kind of suggesting up right here. So again, if Mr. Buterol can actually break back above and close on a daily dual closing basis, let's actually make this a little bit more aggressive. Back above 185, then yes, perhaps I do target this move all the way up here. I'm curious though if Mrs. Litecoin was doing something similar. I really didn't give her too much of a look. I mean, yes, it is a downtrend. I'd imagine if Mr. Buterol moves up here, so does Mrs. Litecoin. Same thing with Bitcoin. It kind of sets pace, but we obviously do have this, this downtrend resistance trend line right here. Just too much redundancy on those words right there. But essentially this area right here, your major resistance right around $75. So as long as Mrs. Litecoin below that, a hard one to really give too much credence to. Let's see, traditional market was closed today, so we can't look at GBTC. Can we look at CMEs? Certainly we can. They were certainly open. And what is CMEs doing? We have a massive gap coming in right around here at around 10,100. So that is a little bit concerning because you will want to see that actually filled. So, Bitcoin does pop back up here or even here, probably does get rejected, but more importantly, did open up above all major moving averages. That's always going to be a good thing. We do see daily stocks cross back up to the upside here. We do see historical volatility percentile actually still downtrending pretty hard. Not too much else to make out of it other than that. Daily RSI looking in a better posture as well. Actually, you can see that we've done some like this, haven't we? We got a nice little falling pizza going on right over here as well. A little bit more like that. There we go. All right, not bad. And of course, breaking back above this region, regaining the exponential, pretty good. So I would say that's this actually looks like it kind of wants to get continuation, but I'd still put more weight on spot right now. I feel a lot more confident with spot. This is a little bit concerning though. If we do have a gap in that region, perhaps we kind of shake around this range a little bit more. But you know what? I'll kind of put that on the back burner. Let's let that one kind of sit for a few days. Anyways, I think we've looked enough at that. I think it's time to get on to. Do we want to look at gold for a second? Nah, I think it's time to wrap it up. All right, let's get back on over to Bitcoin, go to lower time frames, and wrap this bitch up. Bitcoin hitting, basically hitting on all our targets since we last spoke during this morning's live stream video to hit 98.50, then hit 10,200, then hit 10.5 essentially, all in the same day. Like I said, not something that I was really not something that I planned for. I thought that was going to take a couple days for it to really happen, but that's why I talk about the levels, not really the timing of them, even though sometimes we'll give my opinion, but my opinion doesn't mean anything for that. once one level gets taken out, the next relevant level essentially is the next batter up essentially. So looking at this right here, right at this next resistance probably does pull back off it. I would be looking though, more importantly, at the daily total close. As long as we close anywhere above both these two move averages, both the green 50 and the yellow 21, which essentially as long as Bitcoin closes above 10.3 in the next 45 minutes, all looks all good to me. Then I'd be looking for I'd be looking for another test down coming into tomorrow. If that test bounces from this region, from this 10.250 to 10.3 region right here, I would be looking for continuation up to the next target of 10.8 to 11,000 region. If you do see Bitcoin come back down to this region and then fail this region, come in and close like a 4-hour doodle, let's say below 10.200, we'll call it 10.150 if you want to be super conservative, then I'd actually be looking for this to fall apart and come back down, well, basically to 98.50 and probably lower than that. That's where I start to get actually legitimately scared for Bitcoin price action. But for now, I probably would be a little bit more leaning towards the upside. Again, as a trader though, agnostic the whole way through, just taking it one step at a time. So with that said, I want to wish you all on this nice little Monday, nice little start to your week. Happy beginning of September as well. And again, man, I just have to express gratitude for all the love that's been thrown my way today. It's been unbelievable, unfucking unfathomable, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. I just want to say massive thank you, please. From the bottom of my heart to yours, really. Just incredible. I'll leave you off with that before I get lost in my words anymore. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.